In the early 20th century, there was a very popular ideology that was more accepting of smoking. Even advertisement at that point in time saw that doctors were even approving of smoking. But as a result of scientific invention, scientific exploration, and even medical research, we have now come to know that smokers are liable to die young. This singular scenario clearly depicts sociology of knowledge and technology and its true essence, right? It is a core principle that states that knowledge is evolving, knowledge actually changes. It is constantly changing based on social influences. Welcome to Everything Sociology 24. My name is Ode Agbaka Godwin. And before we delve or kickstart our particular topic for today, I would implore us to please like, to share, to comment, and subscribe to this channel. So on today's episode, we're going to explore one of the most prominent theories in sociology of knowledge and technology, and that is the social constructionism theory of knowledge, otherwise known as SCOTK. This theory delves into how knowledge or reasoning itself is consciously developed, how it is institutionalized, and even reshaped through social interaction amongst individuals in a society. So let's delve right on into it. The social constructionism theory of knowledge basically explains that knowledge emerges through human interaction inherent in the society and through social agreement. So individuals in society actually comes together to agree on what is valid or what is true and invalid or falsehood. Remember the example in which I gave about money, right? Money itself is a social construct. Money has no intrinsic value. It is just a mere paper and digits are written on it. Right. However, because society collectively agrees and places value on money, so it is recognized as a means of exchange or a medium of exchange. So if tomorrow, for instance, the Nigerian society were to lose faith in our currency, maybe as a result of inflation or, for instance, even in Zimbabwe, when they had inflation and the money lost its value. So its value would collapse immediately, right? There won't be any importance that's actually placed on it. So this proves the significance that it is socially constructed, money itself. So according to SCOTK, it argues that knowledge is not an inherent or objective truth, but it is as a result or a byproduct of social interaction. So what we consider to be true or factual is influenced by our cultural norms. So our cultural norms actually teaches us about some fads, actually molds our reasoning, molds our choices or what we consider to be valid or invalid. We also have societal agreements, we have historical development, and etc. This notion, right, it basically states that knowledge is fluid, knowledge is flexible, right? Knowledge is actually malleable. So it can be created, knowledge can be institutionalized, knowledge can be accepted, and even discarded over time. So what is considered to be true to a particular generation may change over time as a result of development, as a result of growth in the society. So we can see how social constructionism theory of knowledge works. This theory, the social constructionism theory of knowledge, otherwise known as SCOTK, so if I don't call it by its full name, I can refer to it as those initials in which I mentioned. So this theory was propounded at truckloads or a lineup of propounders such as Peter Beger, Edmund Husserl, we have Thomas Luhmann, we have Steve Wolfgang, we have Bruno Latour, and etc. This theory gained popularity or recognition after the joint work of Beger and Luhmann. They published a book, right, in the 1960s, 1966, if I'm not wrong, The Social Construction of Reality. Now, that particular book, it highlights how knowledge is actively constructed, how it is built within a particular social context itself. Even in terms of gender roles and norms, it is socially constructed. Now, in some cultures, in my own culture, right, in Nigeria here, color pink is affiliated or tied to females, while color blue is traditionally that of males. But sorry to burst your bubbles, many centuries ago, many years ago, color pink was even used by boys. But most persons, they've forgotten that. So when we see a guy in current climate in which we are in that loves pink colors, that loves pink shoes, pink top, pink trouser, we tend to wrongly stereotype that individual, that male, that guy as being gay, as being effeminate, as being girly. But there's a gradual shift. Mhm. Now, this shift in which I've mentioned, I said traditionally pink was affiliated to boys. Then, many centuries ago, that particular shift in which I've mentioned, it demonstrates the societal definition of gender roles, right? That gender roles are constructed and it changes over time. I feel even that is changing currently because guys can decide to even wear what is traditionally considered that of females, and it's changing vice versa too. So opposite sex, they can decide to cross dress. Cross dressing is even becoming more accepted in the society in which we live in. Is it a bad thing or a good thing? It's your personal preference that matters. For us to have a deeper understanding of social constructionism theory of knowledge, otherwise known as SCOTK, it is important we state its key principle or its key tenets. There are about four. Right. Now, the first one is knowledge is a social construct. It does not exist independently of human interaction. It is dependent on human interaction. So, what is accepted as knowledge is largely determined by social groups and institutions. The society in which we live in determines what we accept. For knowledge to remain relevant, it must be reaffirmed by social institutions such as the school, religious body, government, the media, and etc. through daily interaction. That is, knowledge is maintained through social interaction. And also, the third one, knowledge is subject to change. Change is a constant thing. So what is considered true today may be debunked tomorrow, may be considered untrue tomorrow. Knowledge is also based on the interpretative nature of it being flexible. That is, knowledge is interpreted differently by diverse social groups. Let's take, for instance, the Nigerian Biafran War that started in 1967 and ended in 1970. It was quite disastrous. No victor, no vanquished. Now, the Nigerian camp, they're going to view it as they've been victorious over that of the Biafrans because they came prepared. They will have a different narrative in terms of the Biafran war. While the Biafrans, they're going to see it as mass genocide upon them, right? They were trying to succeed a nation that was riddled with corruption, that was riddled with inept leaders. But they were not prepared as compared to the Nigerian camp or the Nigerian side. They didn't have that support, immense support. They didn't strategize. So different strokes for different folks. So we interpret history differently. What is considered true today may be debunked and considered untrue tomorrow. Advances in technology, advances in science, and even cultural shift, they can help to modify and replace existing beliefs. Many years back, we actually believed in the institution of marriage, right? One man, one wife, or remain faithful or loyal to your partner. But that particular narrative is changing today. We have single parents that can as well take care of their offsprings of their child, though there are difficulties associated with it. Right. So that is, knowledge is subject to changes. The killing of twins in Calabar was stopped by Mary Slessor as a result of, she came in as a missionary, as a result of enlightenment, as a result of education, that a child is a gift from God and shouldn't be unalived or killed. So it as a result of thinking, as a result of reasoning. So it helps to shape people, and it also helps to change our society. We can't effectively discuss about any theory without identifying the lacunas, the lapses, because when we criticize a theory, it helps us to improve on that theory itself. So what are the criticism of social constructionism theory of knowledge? It overemphasizes on social consensus. Remember when we said SCOTK suggests that knowledge gains acceptance, that is through group consensus. However, some knowledge, especially, let's say, scientific knowledge, right? It's often developed by individual without immediate societal approval. For instance, Galileo's theory on heliocentric perspective. That particular theory, when it was propounded by him, it wasn't accepted. But over time, centuries later, individuals, they've actually come to a better understanding and they've accepted this theory as it being valid. Social constructionism theory of knowledge, SCOTK, tends to ignore the perspective of the marginalized group or their section itself because they're actually viewed as a subsect in the society and then focuses more on the dominant group, so often neglecting their perspective, that is the perspective of the minority and their communities. So important indigenous knowledge, for instance, knowledge and their system, they've been historically been dismissed by Western ideology as being barbaric, especially that of Africans, even Asians too. The world we live in today is experiencing a rapid advancement in technology, in globalization, and even AI, artificial intelligence, all of which are reshaping how knowledge is created and how it is disseminated or shared. So consider, for instance, how you can use your phone through social media to influence public perception about a particular thing, a particular topic. Misinformation too, in that regard, can easily be spread just as fast. Quickly, we hear that a particular celebrity has died and it's false. We tend to believe it, right? So this actually is a challenge on its own in distinguishing or differentiating what is true and what is false, or maybe a constructed narrative. In conclusion, we've learned today that the social constructionism theory of knowledge highlights that knowledge is not static. It is continually created, institutionalized and refined and even redefined based on social interaction and cultural context or different phenomena. However, the SCOTK is just one of the many perspectives in which we are going to dissect. There are still about 2, 3, or 4 more perspectives for us to understand. Other theories by other propounders and different insight into knowledge is formed. They are disseminated and challenged from time to time. So I've given some criticism to this particular theory, social constructionism theory of knowledge, SCOTK. So the next time you come across a widely accepted idea that is alien to you, that is new to you, so what you're meant to ask yourself is, who created this knowledge? And why do we believe in it? Where does it emanate from? Where does it stem from? So ask thought-provoking questions so you get answers to it. In the future, I'm not a soothsayer or a fortune teller, but I foresee the fact that knowledge will continue to evolve and societies are going to continually change. So what we believe today may be challenged by new discoveries, shifting ideologies, or even cultural differences and its transformation. And that fact itself makes sociology of knowledge and technology relevant. It's still going to be relevant till tomorrow. Remember to always stay curious, ask questions, and question everything absolutely around you, because knowledge keeps evolving and we keep getting better at what we do. So if you like this content, I always implore us to like, to share, to comment, and most importantly, to subscribe to this channel. My name is Ode Agbaka Godwin, and this is Everything Sociology 24. So until we meet again in our next video, stay woke.